everyone, how's it going? Today we are going to be doing an end of July garden tour, and some of the spots in our vegetable garden are getting ready to change significantly. We're going to be cleaning some of these beds out and planting some new things, thinking about the fall garden. And so I wanted to give you guys an overall look at the garden right now, see what it looks like before we start to tear some things out and start to transform it over to the fall garden. So let's take a look at this garden and see what's happening. If you guys are new to this channel, my name is Brittany. Welcome to EverCrest. And here we have a raised bed garden where we grow most of our vegetables. And we have 6 4x8 beds that we grow a lot of our vegetables and produce out of. And so I'm going to show you what's growing in them right now. So we are going to start on this far end here. And in this garden bed, we have all of our cabbage. And this bed is looking so abundant and beautiful. I love cabbage. I mean, the structure of a cabbage plant is just so beautiful to me. Here we have a couple of purple cabbages, which are starting to head up. There's the tiniest little head of cabbage in there. Super cute. The rest of these here are then Copenhagen market cabbage. Some of them will have some pretty good damage from moths and things like that. I haven't kept up spraying them as much as I typically do, but we still have harvested quite a few heads of cabbages out of these holes that are in the bed here. And we have one beautiful head of cabbage right here, which we're going to be harvesting really soon. So as soon as these are all done, we're going to harvest all of them and then clean this bed out for our fall crops. In this next bed beside it, we have a couple of broccoli plants left and a couple of kale plants. I'm going to leave the kale in here, but as the broccoli finishes its forming up its heads, we're going to harvest these and then pull the broccoli plants out. And this bed is just about ready to completely tear everything out except for the kale, recharge the soil, and get ready for some fall crops as well. Right beside this bed here, we have our green stalk tower garden, which there's not a whole lot going on in here right now. I tried to transplant some chamomile into here, which was dying where it was, and I was hoping it would pick up and be okay in here, but it's not looking the best. I have some Swiss chard in here, and then I've also seeded a few spinach and lettuce plants in here, which are just starting to come up, but it's pretty much empty at this point. I just cleaned it out except for these few things that are left over. Beside that, we have our potato grow bags. There's a couple here, and then the rest of them are on down the front line of the fence here. This is our grow bags right here, and these are our potato plants. This is the longest it's ever taken me to grow potatoes. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think it's because the bags dry out so quickly, and I have to keep watering them so much that the plants just aren't forming flowers. They're stressed or something, and I just can't keep enough water on them to really produce any good sized potatoes. So I'm not super happy with this at the moment. Maybe if I could get like a drip system or something like that hooked up to them where they had consistent water all the time. But as far as this year has gone, I'm not super happy with this experiment just yet. In this next bed, we have some more beautiful kale right here in front. And right here is where I just harvested all of our onions. We had 4 rows of onions here. We just harvested all of those. And in the back here, we have a couple of heads of broccoli that are ready to harvest. And so my plan is to harvest these today and then get these broccoli plants out of here. And then we can recharge the soil in this whole bed except for the kale up there and get ready to plant some new things. Here along the edge of the bed, we have a trellis, and we are growing some butternut squash vines up these. So let me just back up and give you guys a look at this trellis as we come up the walkway of the garden here. The first 2 beds has this wire trellis that we made out of a cattle panel and a few T-posts, and we have lots of butternut squash growing on it. So here are the ones that I just showed you on the other side, looking awesome. And on the other side, and in the other raised bed as well, we have several butternut squash plants growing. And we have some baby butternut squash. Isn't that exciting? Oh my gosh, they're so cute. So beautiful. Love it. In that bed with the butternut squash, we have some more kale over here. And this mass right here is yellow squash. So you can look down in there and see some little yellow squash. In the back of this bed, we have some corn growing back there, looking really good. And then this next bed is our tomato bed, which some of our tomatoes are not looking the best. First of all, this cage keeps falling over, and I keep putting it back up and trying to support it, but it just keeps falling over. And some of the tomato plants are looking really bad, but we're just trying to keep them going at least until they get a chance to ripen all of their fruit. Honestly, this is probably our best tomato year we've ever had as far as fruit, because these plants are absolutely loaded with tomatoes. Like, there are so many tomatoes in here. It's insane. So this is the tomato bed. It looks pretty good overall. It's just those front 2 or 3 plants that look pretty bad. Oh, that guy looks like he's pretty ready to harvest. Nice. In the bed beside our tomatoes here, we have a couple of different things. We have a little bit of a mismatch. We have some dill here that went to seed. This is a zucchini plant. Here are some pepper plants here. We have some basil. This back here is all zucchini. Look at this guy. So I missed this zucchini, obviously. It wasn't this big whenever I missed him and I found him. But I'm going to go ahead and let him grow. He's absolutely massive. I'm going to let this one grow and see if I can save seed from it and plant from it the next year. That would be really cool. We have some really nice zucchini looking in here that I need to harvest today. There's some more on the other side. There's some more right here. Looking so good. And then on the end of this bed, we have another tomato plant that was left over. This is a San Marzano tomato, I think. There's one right there, ready to go. Okay, so now we're going to take a tour of this back fence line of the garden. Most of this is nature. Nature's kind of taking over, and at first I was really irritated by it, and I hated it, but actually I'm starting to kind of love it. It creates this like secret garden, and I feel like it's really beautiful actually. But I also have some grapes along this back fence line that I planted, and I think that's my biggest concern at the moment, is that my grapes would be like engulfed by nature. So that's kind of a concern, but I actually wanted to move these grapes somewhere else, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to. But this is the first year where they're actually going to get some grapes off of them, and I am so excited. Look at this. I am so excited. So excited for grapes this year. This is one variety that we have planted here. There's another variety on this side which has not produced anything. So I'm not sure what's going on with that one, but he's still living his best life. He's still super happy mostly. Got some bug damage, but mostly happy. And right beneath the grapevine here, we have our Ollie Garden, which is looking so lush. So, I don't even know, overgrown and beautiful. So first thing is, these are watermelon plants that I planted along the edge of the Ollie Garden so that they would spill out and kind of just take over the space, and they are doing a beautiful job. Here we have some watermelons. There's one there. There's like a baby one in there. There's a nice bigger one there. So I think I have a big one in here too. Oh no, he's not very big. One in there. So super excited about how the watermelon's doing. We swung around to the front of the Ollie Garden here so you can kind of get a front view of it. In the back there, the tall stuff, we have corn planted, which is actually getting ready to tassel, I just saw. Let me see. Right there. So that's exciting. Ears of corn getting ready to be made right there. Then in the front of the bed, we have a ring of strawberry plants. And then just dotted throughout, I have all of these watermelon plants, which look amazing. I'm so excited. I love watermelons so much. I hope these turn out really, really well. So we have more watermelon spilling off this side. We have watermelon growing throughout the bed here. And then of course spilling off that side. I am really happy with this Ollie Garden and how everything is growing in it. As you can see, if you have some space to let some things trail over the side, you can really grow a lot of stuff in this. I have tall vertical corn growing and then vining crops going over the side, and then the strawberries as my filler in the inside of the bed, kind of as a low growing thing, and it's all working out really beautifully together. It kind of reminds me of like the idea of permaculture things, even though these are annual plants except for the strawberries, but just having like a taller layer, something to fill underneath, and then a vining layer to spill out over. I think it's beautiful and it's really, really functional as well. Well, that's going to be it for this garden tour. I hope you guys enjoyed kind of seeing where the garden is right now, the end of July. We are starting to think about the fall garden and starting to clear some of these spaces out as things finish up for the year. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this end of July garden tour. I really just wanted to give you guys an idea of where the garden was right now and what it was looking like right before we start to shift things into fall garden mode. Some of the things are starting to finish up and we're going to be clearing some of these spaces out to plant some new things, which is so exciting. I absolutely love the fall garden. I know that sometimes the summer garden can be absolutely exhausting. It is hot, you're battling pests, you're battling the drought, you're having to water, you're having to do all of these things. A lot of times things go wrong during the summer garden because the pests are just too much, or you just can't get enough water, or maybe the harvest is just so abundant, you're just so sick of tomatoes, so sick of zucchini, you're just ready to be done. And I fully understand that. I am with you 100%. But I also want to encourage you to not give up. A lot of times at the end of the summer garden, we're just done. We're done gardening for the year. It's over. I'm done. But I wanted to just encourage you guys with the fall garden because I find the fall garden to be a breath of fresh air. Things begin to grow a little bit slower in the fall garden, so you're not having these massive harvests that you have to deal with all of this produce. You also don't have as much bug pressure. It starts to cool off a little bit, so it's not so hot to be outside working in the garden, and it's just a really, really pleasant time to garden. I think of fall time, it's one of my favorite times. Like, I just like, give me all the blankets and all the coffee and all the s'mores and all the campfires and all the fall garden stuff, the pumpkins, everything. I love it. And the fall garden has really become something that I look forward to in the fall just as much as any other fall thing that I love, because I find it to be such a relaxed time. You're not dealing with all of the stressors of summer anymore, and you can still grow a lot of food in the fall. Like, if you're thinking about the fall garden now, there is still plenty of time in most zones to still get a harvest of a lot of food from your garden. Well, that's going to be it for me today. I have some chores to do up here in the garden. I need to harvest some broccoli and train up some crazy vines. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.